Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to jump into something that really separates the senior devs from the juniors, unit testing the C# service layer. This isn't just about code, it's about your career. It's about walking into that next interview and just owning it. So let's get into it.
And look, let's just get right to the point. We're not talking about testing some simple getter or setter here. This is the stuff that hiring managers and interviewers actually care about. They want to know if you can protect the heart of the application. This is how you prove you're not just a coder, you're a senior-level problem solver.
All right, so here's the game plan. We'll kick things off with why this all matters, define what we're even talking about, and then jump right in and write a test. From there, we'll look at some real-world stuff, cover best practices versus common mistakes, and wrap it all up by getting you ready for those tough interview questions.
All right, first things first, why are we spending so much time on this one little layer? Well, as you're about to see, it's a huge deal. Let's break down exactly why it's so important.
It's actually pretty simple when you think about it. The service layer, it's the brain of your whole application. It's where all the important business rules and calculations live. And because all that complex logic is there, guess what? That's where the nastiest, most expensive bugs love to hide. So making sure this part is rock solid, that's not just a nice to have. It's absolutely critical for the business.
Okay, so we've hyped it up, but what is the service layer, really? Let's make sure we're all on the same page before we go any further.
You can kind of think of it like the manager of your application. It sits right there in the middle between what the user sees on the screen and where all the data is stored in the database. And its only job is to handle the business rules. It doesn't care about the UI, and it doesn't care about the database. It just cares about the logic.
So what kind of stuff are we talking about here? You know, things like calculating a customer's total order with all the weird discounts and taxes applied, or making sure a user's new password meets all those crazy security requirements. It's the bouncer that enforces rules like, hey, premium users can only create 10 projects. It also plays quarterback, telling other services what to do. All that messy, important stuff? Yeah, that happens right here.
All right, enough talk. Theory is great, but let's get our hands dirty. How do you actually write one of these tests? Okay, if you remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. This is the golden rule. Test the logic, mock the rest. Your job is to test your business logic and only your business logic. Anything else it talks to, the database, some other API, you fake it. You create what's called a mock. This keeps your tests super fast, totally reliable, and laser focused on what actually matters. And the way you structure these tests, it's always the same, super simple recipe. It's called the AA pattern. First, arrange. This is your setup. You create all your objects, you set up your fake dependencies, then act. You call the one single method you're trying to test. And finally, assert. You check if the result is exactly what you thought it would be. Arrange, act, assert. Simple, powerful, and clean.
Okay, so you've got the basics down. Now let's level up. Let's talk about the kinds of scenarios that really show you're thinking like a senior developer. Look, any junior developer can test the happy path. They check that when you give it good data, it works. Fine. But a senior developer, they know that's only half the story. You absolutely have to test the rainy day scenarios. What happens when you throw garbage data at it? Does it blow up, or does it handle it gracefully and throw the right kind of exception? Testing both sides of that coin, that's how you write robust, professional code.
Okay, but what if your method doesn't actually return anything? What if its job is to, do something? Like its whole purpose is to save something to the database or to fire off an email. How do you test that? Well, that's where verify comes into play. It's like asking your mock, hey, did the service actually call your save method like it was supposed to? Now, a quick warning here, don't go crazy with this. If you verify every little interaction, your tests become super brittle. Save it for the really critical side effects, the stuff that has to happen. All right, let's pull all of this together into a super simple cheat sheet. This is the stuff you should absolutely be doing and the stuff you should run away from.
This table right here really lays out the two different ways of thinking. On one side, you have the senior level practices, testing only the business logic, mocking all your dependencies. On the other side, you've got the common mistakes, like actually hitting a real database in your unit test, which is a huge no-no. Seniors make sure to cover all the weird edge cases, nulls, exceptions, you name it. A common trap is just testing that happy path and calling it a day. This isn't just a list, folks. It's a roadmap to writing professional grade tests. And now for the main event, the interview. Let's walk through the exact questions you're going to get hit with so you can walk in there ready and confident.
You can pretty much guarantee they're going to start with this one. So tell me, what is service layer testing?
And here's your answer. Short, sweet, and to the point.
It's testing the core business logic of an application, completely isolated from other layers like the database or the UI by using mocked dependencies. Boom, nailed it.
Okay, now for the follow-up question. This is the one that separates the people who just memorized a definition from the people who actually get it. Okay, so why do you mock the repository?
And your answer here should have two key parts. First, it's about isolation. You want a true unit test, which means you're testing only the services logic, not the database's ability to save data. And second, it's about speed and reliability. Hitting a real database is slow, and it can fail for a million reasons that have nothing to do with your code. Mocks are instant and 100% predictable.
All right, this next one is your chance to really shine and show some experience. They'll ask something like, what's the biggest mistake you see developers make when it comes to this kind of testing?
And here's a killer answer for that. The biggest mistake is mixing up unit tests with integration tests. People will write what they think is a unit test, but it actually hits a real database. That makes the test slow, fragile, and it totally defeats the purpose of having a fast feedback loop. That answer shows you're not just a coder, you understand the principles behind the practice.
Okay, I'm going to give you the one-liner that wraps this all up in a beautiful little package. This is your golden ticket answer. You ready? Here it is. Service layer testing ensures business logic correctness using mocked dependencies for fast, isolated, and reliable unit tests. That sentence, right there, has everything. It's concise, it's accurate, and it'll make you sound like a total pro.
So let me just leave you with this final thought. Seeing all those green check marks in your test runner, it feels great, right? But that's not the goal. The real question isn't, did my tests pass? The real question is, am I confident that my business logic is correct because of these tests? When you can honestly answer yes to that, well, that's when you know you're thinking like a senior developer.